Yes, you're going to go into suffering, you know, letting things go. Don't hold it. Just go, okay, I really didn't need to think about that right now. You know, I'll know what they're doing or I won't know what they're doing. So, you know, but making a plan, plans change, right? When we have, and so hello, everybody. I just want to acknowledge that we're live now. And we are talking about suffering and what is, how it's created. And just one second. I may have my aunt stopping by. So she's 3 minutes away. So when she comes, I can't pause you, but I'm going to step out to give her a hug because she only has a minute. And then I'm going to come right back. But I just want to forewarn you guys. So anyway, we're talking about suffering, what's created by suffering, how we can end the suffering inside ourselves. So how suffering is created is through desire and cravings. I'll repeat that. How suffering is created is through desire and cravings. So if we desire something or crave something, if we desire it and we get it and it goes away, then we're sad because it goes away. We suffer over it going away and nothing stays. So everything in this world is going to go away eventually. Okay. The second, craving, I want. We say, a lot of times we say, I need, when we don't need it all. So when we say these things, if we get it and it goes away, then we're unhappy. If we don't get it, we're unhappy. So
we're unhappy if we get it too, because it's never what we desire.
No, it's never what you think it's going to be. You think it's one thing, but it's usually something different. And when we want something, we usually have to pay a price to get it. And so wanting, then when we get it, oh, we had to do this to get it. Well, I didn't want to do that. And then we have suffering because we didn't want to do what it took to get it. See, it's just a vicious cycle that we do over and over and over again. Now, you know how not to do that. You know, here is the thing. You can just let things be. I'm not saying never ever plan. Anna's going on a trip. She's planning for the trip. But plan it and let it go. Don't go over and over and over and over in your mind about, hello?
Hello.
Oh, hold on. Come on in.
I just gotta say hi, and then we're on our way.
Oh, I'm so happy you
I'm
did.
so sorry. We got
Are you on the motorcycle? Are you
Oh,
I'm so happy to see you. Yes, I'm gonna meet someone. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You look fabulous.
Oh, thank you. That's how you do. Keep up with you a little bit on Facebook.
So that's what y'all are constantly doing. Y'all are sitting there looking at your thoughts, letting them flow, and at the end, not even at the end, you just question it throughout the whole time. Is this a good thought?
I would say for me, it's like I'll notice my mind drift and it goes to something, and usually what I say is it true, is it not true? Do I need to be thinking this? Not needing or not needing, but do I need to be looking at this further, like issues I have, or even it's like I'm weighing the future, playing what ifs, and I'm just telling myself I don't need, like, no, and I kind of just let that go. And if I'm having a hard time letting it go, that's when I usually go back to my breath and be like recenter myself. So then I kind of just like, I feel like it's metaphor I've seen is like you're the rock in which the waves, come up to, and when the thought comes up, I figure out, do I keep it or do I not? do I do it all?
And it's
all the time?
it's never completely quiet. Sometimes it gets quiet, right?
Mhm.
And they say eventually quietness happens, right? But there's still thoughts that's gonna come in. Our brains are always going to think, it's just what you're doing with it.
Yeah, the goal
So-
isn't to be quiet.
So
So
the
you
way that,
practice what you're explaining though?
so like, if I'm sitting here and I'm going to my breath, right, and I go to my breath, then there's a thought that comes. Now, where am I gonna go with that thought? Sometimes I'll let go down the rabbit hole with it, and then as soon as I catch myself in the rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll go back to my breath, right? Then there's sometimes a thought will come up, and I'll just say to myself, thinking. That's enough to distract myself. That's not really what I need to be doing now. So I'll go back to my breath. And then sometimes it quiets, right? And it's just my breath and me. It's kind of like an empty space, and then there will be another thought that'll come in, and I'll go, thank you, not now.
And sometimes we
Yeah,
don't realize
thank
I'm
you,
having
not now.
thoughts.
Sometimes you don't realize, because we think all the time.
Yeah.
So when you start out, there's this disillusion that there's, the light comes on and things like that. I'm not that person that happens. What happens after about 20 minutes of letting it go, I'm in a different place within myself. And then if
So
I'm
you're at a
doing,
balanced place, but then
well,
you
what
let
it
yourself
does,
go up and down.
it balances me back out. And if I'm doing that in the morning and in the evening time, right? If I'm doing those meditations, what it says to my soul is that I'm more important than what I would have been doing before. And that changes something inside me. I don't know what it is, but it allows me, when I'm in a stressful situation, all of a sudden I'll start to breathe.
So what is your significant other like?
My husband? My husband is,
Okay.
you do me, and I don't, whatever. He's not into my meditation or anything like that.
You know, we're live.
So he doesn't really,
Okay. So here we are. That was my aunt. I haven't seen her in over 20, 25 years. And so she lives in Hawaii. I'm just letting y'all know why I was gone for so long. She lives in Hawaii, and they are traveling literally around the world. And so they happened to be in New York, and I shot her a little message and said, hey, if you're coming, they were going to Atlanta, Georgia. And no, they don't have time. And I said, well, if you can, stop by. And so she did, but it was short, hello, goodbye kind of thing. But I was honored that she stopped by. So it was kind of cool. I haven't seen her for a very long time. So that was part of letting go and non-craving and non-desire. Because I shot her a message and I said, hey, if you can, it would be good. I let it go. Then she said, yeah, we're driving right by there. Okay, but I'm teaching meditation.
What are the chances they would jump right through?
Yeah. And I said, hey, okay, no problem. I'm teaching meditation. If you can't, that's okay. And they said, well, we can come in and give you a hug. That was perfect. Then they're on their way. You see, it's part of the lesson here. If you pay attention, you can see it in everything in the world. It's everywhere. But we're clinging to everything so tightly, we cannot see that if we let it go, more things will come. And it's so beautiful when you can see it. But we're caught in the desire and the grasping and the wanting, and we cannot see what we already have. And what we have is beautiful, moment by moment. Moment by moment. That's all you have. But we cling to thinking that we have more than that.
Pass.
But we don't. All we have is right here, right now. And if we respect that, like I'll say that again. If we respect the here and now, it's a beautiful thing. It teaches us, don't cling to it, just let it be what it is. Let it be what it is. We want everything to be different than what it is. Right? Like okay, it's this. No, but I wanted that. You know, a kid gets a lollipop. Oh, I wanted the blue one. Do you understand? Like everything in our life, it begins from a very young age because we're taught from a very young age. But just because we're taught something doesn't mean it's right. And once you start understanding life as it is, like the real natural order of things, you understand that everything in this world is impermanent. It does not last. It will go away. Everything, everybody, everything. And when you know this, then you can start going, okay, I'm going to enjoy it now. Right now, I'm going to enjoy it now. Now, when I'm in Thailand, I enjoy being there. When I'm here, I'm enjoying being here. Every time, everywhere I go, I don't know when I'm going back to Thailand. People ask me that all the time. I get texts, I get calls. When are you coming back? When are you coming back? I don't know is my answer. Because I don't know. Do I plan on going back? Yes. But I don't know. I mean, I planned on going to Africa earlier, but matter of fact, that's where Lydia's going. That's where my aunt's going, to Africa. They're going to Atlantic, and eventually they're ending up in Africa for a while. And she was actually born in Africa. So,
Riding motorcycles all around?
yes.
I like it.
Yeah, they have it shipped, and then they, it's a little chilly out there tonight for a motorcycle, but they have a lot of gear on.
I can't take the cold.
So this is how we do. This is what we do in our life, and this is why we suffer. And we can stop it. We can stop it for ourselves. I promise you that. And they were telling me, my aunt and her boyfriend were telling me that in Hawaii they have a lot of meditation places, but they cost a lot of money. I said, oh, I do it for free. I said, everybody should have peace for free. And they're like, yeah, I agree. This is the thing. It's become a money-making thing to learn not to suffer. And it's really, it is what it is, but we can change that. I'm doing my part in that because I don't charge anybody anything. I want everyone in the world. See, I'm wanting, but I know it's not going to happen right now. I may never live to see it happen. For everybody to have peace and not to suffer. Because the moment that happens, there will be no war. Isn't that amazing? Like it could happen. It could. It's very possible. But people have to understand the basic, and they have to gain wisdom from their understanding. The wisdom comes when you apply it. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't use it, if you don't apply it, it doesn't mean anything. You don't have wisdom unless you use it. That's where the wisdom comes from. We all know these things, but yet when we're by ourselves, we're listening to the old. We're doing things in the old way instead of the new way. But it's very easy to stop that. We just have to know our thoughts, right? Be mindful of what you're thinking. And the minute you start to think something, if it's going to create suffering, and we know what the suffering does, You know, we know what it is, we know when it's coming, then you let it go.
I do this all the time.
Well, are you free of suffering?
No.
Then you don't do it all the time.
I try to do it all the
Okay.
time.
Yes, and that's good. And the more you do it,
Yeah.
the more you will be able to do it. And the less you'll have to think about doing it because it will become your new habit. But if you don't do it, it can't become a habit because you're not doing it. You know, I'm constant, you know, speaking this to different people all the time because they forget it. And I just remind them, did you have mindfulness at that moment? Is there mindfulness there? Okay, well, flip that switch, you know, change it up inside yourself. Because what happens when you are able to have mindfulness and to stop your cravings and desire, peace just, it comes in and you are there and you're in balance. And you don't have to teeter-totter, you know, sadness, happy. You don't do that anymore. Because no matter what comes, you know, that's not going to stay. You understand? Like nothing stays the same. So everything that comes is going to go. Even your sadness, even your grieving or frustrations or anger, that will be there, but it will go. And then the very next minute, you could be in happiness. This is the emotional roller coaster. But you don't have to be in that emotional roller coaster. You can be in balance. And if you do the steps that you know you need to do, knowing our thoughts, taking time to quiet your mind. When I say quiet your mind, that means stop with the 50 million thoughts and calm it down and know what thought is coming in as it's coming. You have to slow yourself down to do that. You can't do it when you're in a hurry. You cannot do meditation in a hurry, by the way. That you cannot. Because that is just surface. That's just doing it to say you did it. That's not really doing you. And we've all done that. I know, because I used to do it too. Oh, let me sit here so I can say I've meditated, you know. But it doesn't do anything because you're not really meditating. You're just saying you did it so you can check that off your box. But for who? Like we think that we're doing it and we've got to tell people that we did it. But it doesn't matter to anybody else. It only matters to you. And whether you're doing it, if you're doing it, you're going to get peace. Like you're going to have peace. That's just the benefit of doing it. So if you know that, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to have peace. I'm going to have peace. Let me do it for myself. That's all you have to do. Let me do it for myself. I deserve to have peace. We all deserve to have peace. We're supposed to have peace. We're supposed to live, this world is supposed to be where we're all helping each other. And that we're all in peace and we're all like, oh, your truck broke down. Okay, here, I can help you fix it. Oh, you ran out of gas? Here, let me get you some gas. Oh, you don't have something to eat? Here's a meal. That's what we're supposed to do. Imagine a world of that, where we're all just, hey, you need this? Oh, I got this. Here, you can have that. Because we're not attached to what we have. We're willing to give it to someone who needs it because we have enough. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to live. And I can tell you 100% when you live that, you feel the beauty in it. And everyone around you feel the beauty in it. It's like, It's like the golden key. It is that. It's everything all at once and nothing all at once. And if you can get it, if you can just give yourself, first of all, have patience with yourself. But don't mistake patience for lazy. Okay? Don't say, oh, I'm going to be patient with myself, so I'm not going to do it today. That's not it. That's not having patience. That's just not doing it. Having patience is doing it, and then a thought comes in and you let it slip by, and then you catch it later. And you're like, instead of being down on yourself, you go, oh, okay, but I caught it now. And I'll have patience because next time I think I'll catch it quicker. Patience is step by step, allowing yourself to take that step by step, knowing it's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen all at once. It's a slow process because you have done the opposite your entire life. So it's a little bit of a slow process in figuring it out. This didn't happen for me overnight. I've been on this journey my entire life. 59 years I've been on this journey. And I've looked in every corner of the world just about, searching for it. Everything I could do. Took so many classes and so many, NLP and all this stuff outside of myself, searching for it. Then I had a monk say, oh, he got it inside of you. He. I'm like, what? But that's the truth. It's been in us all our life. But we've been told the opposite. We've been told if we don't make enough money, we're not worthy. If we don't dress a certain way, we're not worthy. If we don't have a house, we're not worthy. Hey, now things are changing. People are living in their campers. That's a fad. That's a new thing. I'm not so sure it's a fad. I think it's people changing their lives. Some people have chosen not to have a residence at all. And they travel by foot. Got pack horses, some of them. This is a change in the way things have been. It's changing. There's more people awake than there ever was. But you have to be patient with yourself. Doesn't matter how many other people are awake if you're not, does it? Good for them. But what are you doing? Right? That's what we got to every time. Bring it back to yourself. Bring it back to yourself. Know yourself. Know yourself. Love yourself. When I say know yourself, I don't say criticize yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Know yourself and love yourself. Because when you start to do that, then you'll have patience. You'll start to have wisdom because you're no longer judging you. We spend our life judging ourselves. That's the truth. But you don't have to. Because if you didn't do what you needed to do, we know it comes back around. We have another chance at it, right? And a lot of times we don't like it to come back around. We don't want that other chance, right? We're like, oh, I don't want. Well, if you don't want it, right? That's a wanting, right? That's like a craving, right? But if you don't want it, then you know what to do not to have it happen again, right? Like this is the vicious cycle that we go in. I don't want it. I don't want. I want. I don't want. I want. I don't want. It's the same thing. Wanting and don't wanting. That's the same thing. But we're in this cycle of that desire. And then we're in this going like this, round and round and round. until one day we stop and go, wait a minute. That's desire. And I don't need to have that. I can live in this present moment, be happy with everything I have. You know, but most of us go, well, but I can't. But I can't because I want that. Or I don't want that. Or something happened. Something's always going to happen. You know, it's always going to happen. Roger had 3 motorcycle accidents, 2 before this one. He actually had a motorcycle fall on him, but we're not counting that one. So he had 2 and then this one. And this one knocked him down.
Let's face it.
Yeah, literally, like completely out of commission. Because the universe has a way, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, Buddha, who I don't care what you call it, but it has a way of working with you. Now, most people wouldn't consider having a motorcycle accident something working with you, but it 100% saved his life. I know that. I know that with every fiber that's in me. I know it saved his life. And most people would say that's crazy to say that it saved his life because it almost killed him. But it did not. So now he has had to spend, July, August, September, 3 months looking inside himself. He's not done yet. See, he didn't want to, and this is everyone. Roger is not the only one that doesn't want to look inside themselves. We do anything we can not to spend time with ourselves. Let me go visit my friend. Let me call my brother or my sister or my kids, or, let me find someone to distract me from being with myself. And that is the problem. Because then you don't know yourself. Then you're not taking care of yourself. You're avoiding yourself. And you cannot avoid yourself because you will always be with yourself. So you don't have to, you can spend your life trying to avoid yourself. But that is what happened with Roger. He was trying to avoid himself. And now he cannot because he's there with himself.
It's the universe saying you don't want to, now you're gonna.
Yes, that's the way it is. Like it's knocking, it knocks at your door, then it bangs at the door, and then it busts the door in. His door was busted in. But it's beautiful because you can see the growth. You can see the beginning of the changing. And a lot of times it does that because we're not seeing what's actually going on inside of us. We're seeing everything outside of us. And we're telling ourselves a story. We're telling ourselves, no, I'm good. I'm not doing the things I was doing. I'm good. I'm not going back to however I was because I'm good. I'm doing it. When in reality, we know we're not, but we're telling ourselves. And we do this all the time. I know because I did it. Right? Like I can't speak to things that I've never done, but I can speak to this with clear, straightforward, because it happens. And this is your journey. This is everyone's journey. And we tell ourselves a story about, oh, we're doing it. But if you're doing it, you're not suffering. You're not anxious. You're not sad. You're not angry. You're not resentful. All those things are gone when you're doing it. You understand? Don't tell yourself that you're doing it when you're not doing it. Just say to yourself, I need to do it right now. I'm going to do it right now. Here we go, and allow yourself to do it. Do what? Pay attention to your thoughts. Tell yourself the truth. Stop the craving. Stop the desire, right? Those things are the things that cause suffering, right? Is everybody understanding this? Like, you're knowing, you're gaining knowledge that you can turn into wisdom. But it's your choice. You see? I can only say, here's knowledge. I got knowledge from somebody. I'm going to give you the knowledge that I got. And it's a beautiful thing if you use it. But you have to choose inside your own self to use it or not use it. That's the choice you make. You have freedom to do that. But don't tell yourself a lie. Be clear on what you're doing and not doing. Be clear with yourself, because we don't know we're lying. You understand? I mean, it sounds crazy, but we don't know we're lying to ourselves. And then we get caught in this web of not knowing, and we continue the story that we're telling ourselves, no, I'm doing it. I am doing it, And then we think we're doing something that we're not. Y'all understand? Like, you're looking at me like deer in headlights. But I want to make sure that you understand this, because it's important. Because when we tell ourselves the lie, and it can be any kind of lie, it doesn't matter what the lie is. If you're telling yourself something that is not true, you're going to create suffering inside yourself, because what you're doing is giving yourself permission not to do what you know you need to do.
So there are, whether I like it or not, there's one or two people that I still have like resentfulness towards, right?
Yes.
And when I'm in their presence, I feel deep. It's almost like this split personality.
Mm-hmm.
There's deep empathy that I feel for these people, but there's a resentfulness that I have for them too, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
so the way that I look at it is there's something about them that reflects something about myself.
Yes. But you have to be honest about that.
Right.
See?
And
that's where the lie is tricky.
right.
Because if we 100% of the time, if we're resentful towards someone, it's because we see something in them that's in us. Okay. So what is it that you resent about them? You have to be honest with yourself. And then you have to look inside yourself and say, there it is. The minute you do that, it'll release that resentment.
So then do you like meditate on that? What it is about them is what it,
You can meditate on it, or you can just be truthful with yourself. Like, you already know, okay? You know why you're resentful towards them. Like, your inner self knows exactly what it is. But you are telling yourself, no, it's not. Do you understand? Like, okay, when we are resentful towards somebody, we know why we're angry or resentful towards them. True or not?
Yeah, it is, but with this one person, I can't figure it out. And I mean, it's a stumbling.
Mm-hmm. You can't figure out why you're resentful, or you can't figure out what inside of you is in her.
It's a him this time.
All right,
It's
in
an
him.
unusual one. It's a him. I can't figure out what it is about him.
So you're just like, this random person is irritating you.
Or it's a person that's, in my life. It's a regular person in my work life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've had situations, right?
Mhm.
I have deep empathy for this person.
Mhm.
But sometimes I just want to grip my, I feel that.
Well,
I mean,
don't you feel the same about yourself sometimes?
Yeah, that's the truth.
So you see yourself. Sometimes you have empathy for yourself, and sometimes not so much.
Right.
So you are seeing yourself in him. Now, do we know what it is that you have empathy for him and what it is you have, her?
I see that I have empathy for their suffering.
Okay.
And I have empathy for maybe that's it. That's it. Okay, because the choices that they make to stay
In suffering.
in suffering,
Ah.
their choices that they're
See
making.
how that worked? Do you see? Look, everybody, I want everybody to pay attention because we had to ask ourselves, like you were asking yourself. I was speaking it to you, but you were basically asking yourself, okay? What is it? Like I helped you a little bit
Right.
by saying, okay,
Right.
don't you have
Right.
sometimes empathy for yourself and sometimes not so much? And you said, yeah.
See, and I had never thought of that either.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. And then you said, oh, the empathy is because they're suffering. And that not so much. The resentment is from them doing it to themselves again.
and what it does, it boils over. So when they make these decisions or this denial that they have within themselves, it pushes it out to other people.
Yes.
And that's
what you're feeling about yourself. Ah,
Mm-hmm.
that's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It is.
Do you see? That's how you do it. Like this, I love this class because this is what we do. We go through it and you're able to see how to do it when you're not with me.
Right, because what I would do is I would pick at the certain things,
Mhm.
not looking at what is that
At the whole.
as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know like me and my coworkers, like I feel like I'm learning so much because I find myself getting frustrated or irritated and being like, why the heck are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, well, I can't say anything because I do the exact same thing. Just it might not be the exact same
Right.
thing, but I
In
do
a different situation.
Yeah, and I was like, and I do that too, and it's like.
But this is exactly the practice. This is the core of the practice. Do you understand? Like it's not, yes, meditation is part of the practice. Okay. Meditation is an important part of the practice because it makes you stop.
So there's like I can see people and I mean this sounds silly, but you see what their area is,
Mhm.
that they're suffering with, and there's no attachment to it, or there's no wanting. That's their
No,
karma,
but why are
that's
you
their-
seeing it?
I'm not sure why I see it, but I do.
Because you're looking for it in other people. You need to look at inside yourself.
Stop looking at other people's.
Yeah, what do you care what they're doing? It's got nothing to do with you.
So like at work, my office is a revolving chair. People come in, they sit, they talk, and they leave, right? And
Uh-huh.
and that's fine,
Yes.
right? Whatever.
Yes.
And I've learned not to attach.
Mhm.
Sometimes I get like an angry feeling. I go, oh wait, that's Anna's.
Mhm.
That's not mine.
Right.
If that keeps coming up, I'll go, what is it that she's saying that I need to look at in what I do daily? That is it, and then I do the whole with that for myself, which
Right.
hopefully is going to help Anna or whoever's
Right.
sitting there.
But what you spoke was you see it in other people.
There's some people's like they have traits that could irritate me, but I don't allow them to irritate me.
But then they are irritating you.
Okay.
Like you need to speak truth to yourself. Okay. Because if they're not irritating you, you wouldn't even know they would irritate you. But they are irritating you in some way. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Never thought of it that way, because like you don't
Like,
notice if something's
yeah.
bothering you because it's not bothering you.
Right, exactly.
Like you don't hear the wood chipper, so you don't know that it would be frustrating
Right.
if you heard it. 'cause you
When
don't
I
hear
heard it, I was like, oh, that's not about me. I need to make myself not hear that. So that's what I did. You understand? But if you're saying they could irritate me, that means they are irritating you, but you're saying, no, I'm not going to let them do that. But then I think what happens is when you say that, you stifle it down instead of actually letting it go. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's a whole different way to think about it.
Because what happens is if it's continuing to occur,
Right.
then you haven't let it go.
So when most people are talking to me and they're talking about whatever it is in their life that troubles them, I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's just part of, go to Walmart and the lady behind you tells you the troubles, that
Uh-huh.
kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm always seeing the little person, the child in them
Uh-huh.
instead of, when they start to talk, I see the adult, I see the child. I see
Mhm.
that. So was that saying to me, I haven't dealt with that child inside of me?
Mhm. But here's the thing.
Wow.
People talk all the time, right? But you don't have to take in. You can redirect. And what I mean by that, because I could spend hours in Walmart. Do you understand? I could spend hours anywhere I go. The rehab center. Anywhere I go, I could spend hours because everybody wants to tell me their problems, right? Because when you do this, they see it in you, whether you don't have to even speak, right? But I say to them, I redirect it, whatever it is, because that's not about me. I'm not their teacher. It's not, I can't fix them. They have to fix themselves, but they have to make a choice. Sometimes if they're seriously, I want to find somebody to teach meditation or whatever, I'll give them a card. If they're really serious, they'll look it up. But if they're not, they won't. Okay, that's up to them. I've given them something. But when you're in a situation where, first of all, we're working on ourselves, right? So we're not out trying to fix everybody. We're working on ourselves. When someone comes in and they start talking stuff, whatever it may be, you can direct the conversation into a place of peace. What good does it do them to sit and talk about stuff? What is it doing? Nothing. It's making them suffer more. They're talking about their suffering and they're suffering more about what happened and why they're suffering. And then, you're going to feel it because you're sitting in a room with somebody that's just regurgitating suffering and why they're suffering and how it's not their fault that they're suffering and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So you can say to them, you know what I did yesterday? Redirect the conversation. I have a friend who has this flower garden. Have nothing to do with the conversation, but you'll take them to a place of peace. You can speak about a peaceful place or something peaceful. You can redirect. I do it all the time. Why? Because first of all, I don't have time to sit and listen to everybody suffering. Everybody in the world is suffering, just about. There are a few that are not, but they, and if they don't want to do anything about it and they just want to talk about it, I really don't have time for that.
I have a question.
Yes.
inside of ourselves to see how we can relate to these people to forgive them. What about someone that you completely deemed stay away from that person, like a bad person?
Stay away from them, but forgive them.
Forgive them.
There's a difference between forgiveness and hanging out with somebody. You don't have to hang out with somebody when you forgive them.
So what am I looking for to relate to forgive him?
What are you looking for? You can just say, I forgive inside. You're not forgiving the person for the person. Like, that's not why you forgive. You forgive so you can have peace inside your own self.
Oh, I said that to him personally in his face. I said, listen, just so you know, it's not on me anymore. I'm
So
letting go.
why did you say that?
Because I thought it would help me let go.
But that was unnecessary to say to him. This is something you need to say to yourself, but not to that person. Because when you say it to that person, what happens is they get resentful. They get angry. Because they're not in the place you are. They don't have the knowledge you have. They still have the knowledge that they've been fed their entire life. And they have no alternate knowledge. But you do. So in order to forgive someone, you truly have to say to yourself, inside yourself, I forgive them, because they don't know. Do you understand? They don't know. We're forgiving people because they don't have the knowledge.
I understand.
And so we completely let it go because it's not on us. It's not about us. Their issue is their issue, and it has nothing to do with us. Is it? Kathy has a question.
There's something that I heard Russell, somebody say about that.
Russell Crowe?
Yeah, about when Jesus said, forget them, Father, for they do not know what they do.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think about what it was, but it was exactly those kind of things. It's not that, but they have no knowledge of where they are within them, their own
Yeah, they
self.
have no idea.
And so that their capability of even to be able to ask for forgiveness is
Yeah.
within, not even within their existence.
No, they have no comprehension of why their life is like it is. They have none, zero.
And it's at a point where only God or the universe could show that to them.
Well, it's not our job.
It's not ours.
Okay. It's not ours to carry. We're not the person that is going around trying to find people to say. Okay. Understand that. That is not our job. Our job is if someone needs help and they're asking for it, we give it to them. That's our job. But we first have to give it to ourselves. We cannot go out and give what we do not have. And even though we're making steps in that direction, we're not there yet. And we want to tell ourselves, and I say we, but I'm really speaking of my class, right? Because I'm teaching it. So I have to do it. I have to do it daily, every minute of every day I spend doing what I'm doing right now. You understand? And if you're not doing that, it's very difficult for you to teach someone else how to do it because you're not doing it yourself. So you have to, in order to be able to help someone else in this aspect. Now, I'm not saying you can't help somebody if they run out of gas or if their car breaks down or, I'm not saying that. I'm saying in their personal growth inside themselves. I give this warning all the time, and I'm doing it again. I'm giving it again. If you try to help somebody with their growth and you haven't completed yours, it's going to come back and hit you hard. It will, 100%. But if you do just do you first, then you can help everybody in the world that you want to, that asks for help. Now, you cannot help people who do not want it and don't ask for it. Know that too. Because we tend to want to help everybody. When we finally get it, we're like, oh, I got to save the world. No, you don't. You can't. First of all, the only person you can save is yourself. Be clear on that. You cannot save anyone. I'm not saving anybody. Do you understand that? It's not me that does it. You do it for yourself. I'm only giving you tools to do it with. Okay? You understand? Kathy, you look like you're
I'm just contemplating the thought that you said. Within my own self and within my own person, of forgiving, there's certain things that have happened in our life that we forgive ourselves because we just didn't know better.
Mhm.
And I'm sure you've said that before, but it's the first time I've really heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, because I look at my life and you go, how could I have been so stupid to believe this or
But
believe that?
here's
But it's not that. It's at
No.
that point, that's all I had.
yes. And you were learning. And by the way, any journey you took on your way here to this point was a journey you had to take to get to this point. So don't look back and go, how could I be so stupid? No, that you gain knowledge on that trip. You know, it's okay. We all have done things where if we look back on a mind that doesn't have the information that we have, if we look back at that, everybody would say, oh, I made a mistake. How could I have been so stupid? But if you look through a mind of wisdom, you will say, that taught me this, and it taught me that, and it taught me this, and it taught me that, and it brought me right here where I am today. Isn't that beautiful? And it is beautiful. Our journey is beautiful, but we tend to judge ourselves on it because it's not the norm or what people put in a box and say, you have to do it this way, this way, this way, this way.
What's considered successful.
Yes. You know, success is peace.
Yes.
That's success. That's the greatest success you could have.
How many billionaires are completely miserable?
A lot.
Almost every one of them.
Yes. But success comes when you have peace inside and balance. That's your success. That's when you can start really helping people, really helping yourself, really making a difference in the world. That's where it is. You had to take this journey to get to where you are. There's no judgment in that. It's a beautiful experience. Everything you experienced gave you knowledge. Wouldn't you say that's true?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where's the problem? You gain knowledge on your trip. No problem. But we judge ourselves hard. You know, we tend to judge ourselves hard. And it's not necessary because, yeah, technique. Josh says that all the time. Technique, master, technique. I'm like, yeah, he's got a technique for everything. And that's it. Our life is a journey of gaining knowledge so that eventually we'll have wisdom. And when you have the wisdom, that's where your peace is. And the wisdom is just using the knowledge. It's nothing more than that. Wisdom is just using the knowledge that you have gained along your way. It's really very beautiful. And what's more beautiful is that if you watch everything as it's happening, you can see the truth and the flow of the universe, the flow of things, and how they're working in our favor. They're working with us, and we're the ones working against it.
100% of the time.
Yes. And it's so funny because when I see things like Roger's accident or when he dropped his guitar and broke it, I said, "Oh, that's the Dhamma. That's the truth in life. Do you see it? That's the truth in life. Do you see it? Everything is impermanent. Nothing stays the same. Nothing stays. Everything goes. If we know these things and we live in that, we're not upset about things coming and going, coming and going. Throughout our entire life, everything has come and gone. One time I owned a house. I owned another house. So, that one went, this one went, got this, got that, left this, left that. It's forever changing. That's beautiful because then you're not going to suffer. If you're suffering, it's going to stop. That's the real truth in life. And the real truth is we don't have to suffer at all. But it takes practice. It takes really knowing, it takes time. It takes practice. It takes using your knowledge. All of those things, being patient, loving kindness. See, if you're kind to yourself, you're not judging yourself. And when you're not judging yourself, you're being patient with yourself. And when you're being patient with yourself, you're practicing. And when you're practicing, all of a sudden, you find balance. But don't stop when you find the balance. Most of us go, "Oh, okay, I'm feeling good now. I don't have to do it. I can ease off." Then we go into suffering again. That's the way it works. But if you just do it, just keep doing it, it's beautiful. And you may have a second of something like this morning when I started to meditate and I heard them grinding something. I had a moment and then I was like, "Oh, I can just not even pay attention. Here we go. Let me go in my breath." And it went completely away. I don't even know when they stopped. You understand? Like when you do this inside yourself, that's how everything flows. And you don't have to suffer. And, money is just paper. Like you begin to understand that the real thing in life, the real thing here in this world is loving kindness. That's real. That is worth more than any amount of money. And it can do more than any amount of money if we do it. But most of us don't do it all the time. Then we are in suffering. This is the way it is. Okay, so it's time for meditation. Are we ready? I gave y'all a lot to think about, a lot to contemplate in your meditation. All right, ready? Take a deep breath in and let it out. Another deep breath in. Let it out. And one more time. Deep breath in. And let it out. Now just stay in this space of quiet. When your thoughts come, look at them. What is it creating in your life? If you want it, keep it. If you don't, let it go. Breathing in and out. No need to be frustrated. Just let it go. Breathe in, feeling that breath of air going into your cells and into your body. Breathing out Any kind of resentment, frustration, anger, let it go. No need to carry it. Allowing yourself just to be in this space of peace. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Letting go of everything, just breathing in, just following the breath. Looking inside yourself. Just breathing. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Another deep breath in and let it out. And one more time, deep breath in and let it out. Metta ceto imutiya, karuna ceto imutiya, mudita ceto imutiya, ubeka ceto imutiya. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a beautiful night. I will see everyone next week. Okay.